Ho, 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 ho. This is the OSMcast. Hello, and welcome to the OSMcast, your podcast for everything, well...
No, you can't say it.
So, this is our Christmas gift to John. I'm Basil.
Nobody else wants to put their name to this. I'm Charlie.
I'm Dylan.
There we go.
I'm John. I'm responsible for this.
And that's us. Oh man. So, yeah, we watched an episode of an anime that you can't really watch very easily, and it's
Thank
probably
goodness.
For the best. But before that, this is the OSMcast, your podcast, First Things. Now, this will definitely be one of those OSMcasts where it's actually a question mark and not an exclamation point. So it will live in the same company as... Oh, that fourth Indiana Jones movie, whatever, Crystal Skull, and The Wind Rises. So it's...
I feel like those were better than this.
Probably.
I mean, I might go on to say that I feel that Itsudatte My Santa is the Wind Rises of... is the equivalent, if you take... Miyazaki's, general quality into account. This is his My Santa. Wind Rises his My Santa, sure. So, let's just get right into things. How are y'all?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
2020, everything's bullshit.
True.
Cool. Well, I mean, look, we've all just been recently traumatized. It's all fine. Everything's not on fire, I don't think. So let's just go into things. Positive things. Well, let's start positive. End with whatever do we end with? Moments of awesome.
It's a moment of awesome.
Sure is, Dylan. What you got?
I'm going to go back to the backlog and pull out A Short Hike. Not actually A Short Hike, although I can recommend those as well, but the game A Short Hike. If you got I can't remember what it was called, the big Itch.io bundle, like the racial justice bundle, this was in it. It's also on Switch. And it is just this really simple, kind of Zelda-like game that has kind of an Animal Crossing aesthetic. And it's, it's not super challenging. It's more about exploring and kind of using your mobility to get around this island than it is fighting anything. But you're like this, you're this bird who is trying to get to the top of this mountain. And along the way, you meet other people who live in this park. And you find out their stories. And it's just kind of this quaint, nice, calming game.
Well, and much like Animal Crossing, that's probably something that is needed this year.
Yes.
I think I actually have that game because I think I bought that bundle, but I've not played anything out of it yet.
It only takes a few hours, so I would definitely recommend it.
Okay.
You're not committing to a whole lot, especially if you don't try to get completionist and explore the whole island.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out.
So, Charlie, what should we check out from your moment of awesome?
I have a daughter. There's that.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
But if you're not into having children, then actually we just started something called The Repair Shop on Netflix. That's a British television show about this. It's filmed in this living heritage museum cottage thing, and for the sake of the show they bring these crafts experts and master restorers together, and people bring in these heirlooms and old objects, and they restore them to their former glory, and it's kind of interesting because, like, I mean, it's just kind of like easy to relax and watch because it's very quaint and very inoffensive, and because, like, depending on what the item is, like, what's kind of fun is when they bring in something that requires like two different trades, like, you know, it may be a clockwork something, so you have this master clockmaker who's doing part of it, and then he hands it off to, like, it might be a furniture restorer or some kind of, they've got like a leather expert and an art restorer, a clock restorer, I think a couple furniture restorers, somebody that works with like really fine woodwork. It's just kind of like something to zen out on, which is kind of good.
Nice.
But it's on Netflix. Anyone can check it out. It's
And what's
fun.
it called again?
The Repair Shop.
Cool. John, what you got?
I've been back on my bullshit recently. I've been playing the DLC for Fire Emblem Three Houses. I got the season pass when it came out, but it took me forever after, finishing the 4 main campaigns to go do any of the side shit. So I picked that up recently. Also, the original NES Fire Emblem you can now get in English for $6 on the eShop for Switch. I wouldn't say that that's a good start point if you're new to Fire Emblem or strategy games in general, because it's rough. Like, even having played a bunch of Fire Emblem games in the past and knowing how they work, like, it still took me a couple of minutes to figure out what the fuck I was doing in the NES version there. If you're willing to get into it, Fire Emblem Heroes is actually a pretty good way to do it because it's free to play, it's on mobile. It's kind of a simplified version, but all the major concepts are still there, so pretty good way to pick up and play that genre, that franchise, if you haven't done it before. I've also been playing, like, Mega Man X 4 through 6 because I've got the X collection on my Switch as well. It's a really interesting sort of. It's interesting that the Mega Man X series has like 3 really separate and distinct phases between the Super NES, the PlayStation, Saturn era, and then the PS2 era, which, God, those games are garbage. But anyway, yeah, I've just been going back and picking up some old shit because it's 2020. You gotta get your happy where you can find it.
Amen.
I mean, that's true. I found it really interesting how they handle the port of the first Fire Emblem for Switch, and that it's contained in like this like wrapper for the emulator, and they're actually more or less injecting the text into the game live, but that allows them to not have to like try and break the code apart and actually fit the text in. They just have put the text in the wrapper. It's actually the same thing they did with the Mario 3D All-Stars, where Mario 64 and stuff, the text actually looks really nice, sharp, and crisp, even if the game looks like mess because it's an N64 game. Because it's actually using a ROM of the last version of the game they made, which was actually for Japan, using some updates to the American ROM, but it's still in Japanese, so they just more or less, all this text is programmed, but it's adding the text in live as you're playing it, and it's kind of nuts. So I'm going to also be back on my bull malarkey, because I'm once again going to talk about Star Trek Discovery. The 3rd season has just kicked off, and it has kicked ass. So,
What's so good? Tell us more.
Well, the downside is you do have to have that CBS All Access junk, but thankfully my mother-in-law has to have a constant, non-stop drip feed of Blue Bloods. So I get to steal that for Star Trek.
Sweet.
And that's pretty baller. So Star Trek Discovery, this is their 3rd season, and a lot of folks are wondering, they think this might be the season where they, quote, grow the beard. First season was their first attempt at a serialized Star Trek story where it's an actual, like, arcs. It's not just episode of the week. they're trying to tell a continuous story, and it took them a minute to figure out how to do. And then the second season, they threw in Spock and some other folks, and that was interesting. And I think they finally realized what they needed to do was take their crew and throw them almost 1,000 years into the future.
What?
And yeah, things happen where they, in order to save the day, they have to time travel almost 1,000 years. So they're now further out in the timeline past any other Star Trek show. And things have happened. The Federation isn't quite where it should be. And even though they're going to places before, like Earth, and they deal with Trill and other things that you're used to, the circumstances are not what you're used to. And so this ends up sort of feeling kind of like a Voyager 2.
That's what I was about to ask, actually, if it had a Voyager feel to it.
It kind of does. And it really fits the name Discovery, because they're now actually discovering things versus them being stuck in the past and kind of having to discover what we already know. But this gives a good recontextualization of everything. And just so far, I've only like 3 or 4 episodes in, but every episode has been a banger. It's all been good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where the show goes.
Now, I forget, where do the first 2 seasons take place in the larger Star Trek continuity timeline?
It is right before the original series.
So that would be after Enterprise, before original.
Right.
Okay.
Like, this is literally, oh shoot. My brain is forgetting the name of the captain before Kirk.
Pike,
yes. Christopher Pike. He is in the second season.
Oh.
And he is the captain of the Enterprise, along with Spock is there too.
Oh, wow.
So, and the guy he's a good Spock.
Yeah.
And I think they might be getting their own spin-off show for like a Pike-based, Enterprise show. Weird. Which would be kind of cool, because at least they'll know what they're doing with it now. Because Discovery does some really awesome, interesting things with its starship that completely makes no sense that it's not like having much bigger ramifications in actual Star Trek lore. Because it's doing stuff that they should not be able to do.
Oh.
And so it makes a lot of sense that they shot them ahead in the future so that no one actually knows what Discovery even was, because it's so revolutionary that it should have changed everything.
Oh. Interesting.
So where it is now makes a whole lot of sense, and it's a lot of fun to watch. The crew has really grown into their own, and if you have access to CBS All Access, you should access it. It's good stuff.
Did you say you should access all of it?
Yes. You should see about that sometime.
That sounds like BS. It's just interesting because hearing you describe it, it makes me think of Knights of the Old Republic. Maybe there's just something to be said about, these sci-fi franchises just need to, do a storyline that's so far-flung from anything in the quote-unquote main canon that, there's no hope of, a Spock or, anything like that. It's like, okay, we know this is going to be new. We know we're not going to,
Yeah. The question it raises, or I can't help but or wonder about, is this a case of, like, does this happen when a intellectual property, like the continuity, becomes too unwieldy? Like, for Star Trek Discovery, as a for instance, like, were they always planning to do this, or did they get so far in and we're like, okay, we've either screwed up continuity, or we're going to have to deal with so much continuity that we just need something like Voyager. We need to be flung somewhere where we can tell whatever stories we want, and we don't have to bother with continuity anymore. I don't
Oh,
know.
I think in Discovery's case, the ship Discovery is very cool, but it also looks way more futuristic than what. Because the problem with the original series, and even Next Generation to a certain point, it's in the future, but we have stuff now that is in many ways more futuristic than was on that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Discovery was trying to make use of that kind of stuff, but then I think they realized that, oh no, they went too far. And there's also things like on the Enterprise, they actually made sure to make it look close to what the original series did. And apparently it's because Pike likes things looking older. So he had stuff sort of older looking. And I think if they know if what they're... Like, for example, they're going to make a new Trek called Strange New Worlds, which is going to be the Pike show. And so it's going to take place post-season 2 Discovery, but pre-original series. And I think as long as they realize they know what they're actually doing with it, I think it's fine. I just think they were trying to make a whiz-bang new, awesome-looking new show, and they, in my opinion, mistakenly set it in the past.
Yeah.
When it would have made more sense if... I bet if they had set this, like, for example, in the same time frame as Picard is, it would make a lot of sense. Because also Picard is fine. I really enjoyed Star Trek Picard. And I can't wait to see what they do with the second season of it. But I think Discovery, with what they were doing with it, and from like episode like 1 or 2, you'll be like, yeah, why is Discovery this far back in the past? Like you get that feeling pretty quickly on. Although it's pretty awesome now because it's set so far in the future. Everyone's like, your ship is old, man. Your ship is real old. Everyone who's actually lives in the future, like, what are you? Are y'all time travelers? Is that what you're doing? And
I
almost think, like, visually, they also need to do kind of what John was talking about, of just do whatever you're going to do visually and don't try to hand wave away, how it connects to, like, the original series. Because I think every Trek has kind of done that. Like, if you think about, like, the Deep Space Nine episode where they go back in time to the Tribble episode and, they make comments about, why Klingons look so different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just deal with it.
Well, this is going to be... it is a baked-in flaw or feature of science fiction that is based in the, like, far future rather than the near future. Probably more so. But that what you're dealing with are people's conceptions of what... Like, whoever's doing the set design or... whatever media you're involved with, it's what people think the future is supposed to look like. It's like when you go back and watch those like old films, short films about like the kitchen of the future, and you're like, no, we're living in their future, and it looks nothing like it. It's because we're dealing with people's and that's going to be the case with any science fiction media is. We're dealing with what people think the future is going to look like. And then once you start making new iterations within the same continuity, you start... I think that explains what Basil's talking about. That, the original series was Gene Roddenberry and whoever else's conception. This is what the future could look like. But now, from depending on what series you're looking at, 30, 40, 50 years later, the people that are making the stuff that's in the exact same universe and continuity are making what they think the future looks like. But then if you're setting a show that's your conception of the future, which is the far future, but it's before the future that was conceived by Gene Roddenberry in like the 60s, Like there's going to be unless you are slavishly in tune with those older sensibilities, it's always going to seem a little jarring, I think.
Yeah, which also it kind of makes sense why it's hard to come out with a new Star Trek series, now and has been for the past several years. Because if you go back and watch Next Generation or something like that, these feel like much older sci-fi short stories turned into an episode. And our version of what the future would look like is probably a little more dystopian.
Yeah.
And has been for a little while, with the rise of like the internet and everything. But, the trick with Star Trek, I guess, is it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to line up with our future.
No.
It is what it is. It's defined, and if you just do that.
Well, it also depends, again, on, now it depends on what the corporate vision for these properties is. It's like, you're not just... I feel like very few corporations that own these vast franchises of intellectual properties are willing to give it to a director or a writer or whatever and say, okay, you just do whatever you want. Don't bother. You don't need to fit this into everything we've done before. I mean, some let you do that. I mean, like a brief example would be like kind of what DC is doing with their live action cinematic stuff, where they seem to be giving the people involved like a little more reign to tell whatever stories they were and want, and as a result, those stories are various levels of good and seldom very connected. It's you get what you want. I mean, it has some pros and cons, I guess is what I'm saying.
I think you could see, and I'll make this point that we probably should move on to talk about the wonderful thing that our subject is.
Yeah, let's do that, huh?
Anyway. Marvel has pulled it off sometimes pretty well. Where, look at, for example, Thor Ragnarok. Where they more or less went, okay, we need you to start here and end here, but where you go in between, have fun. And so he had great fun. Then you look at Star Wars, and the most recent trilogy has been all over the place, especially with that final movie. But
let Ryan Johnson make episode 9, you cowards.
I mean, sure, my favorite one is Last Jedi. I agree, but
the middle one of every trilogy is the best one. Go ahead.
Also look at The Mandalorian, where they are just knocking it out of the park like every episode. So, let's speaking of something that completely knocks it out of a park.
Not a good park.
It's one of those bad parks.
A very bad
that
park.
you try
Where
and
they
avoid at night.
Yeah, the ones where they sell drugs to kids.
That
park.
Let's travel back to 1997/2005 to talk about an anime adaptation of a manga, Itsudatte My Santa. This is the OSMcast. So, the show we're talking about, it's based off a one-chapter manga by Ken Akamatsu, who has made such wonderful things like Love Hina and Nagima. I hate both those things.
As well you should. Love Hina has one of the dumbest episodes I've ever seen of anything, in which two characters that don't get along suddenly get along when they both forget their glasses.
Yeah.
They don't know it's the other person, even though they fucking live together and they talk to each other all the time.
That's Shakespearean level, though.
They can't recognize their voices either.
That's some straight up Clark Kent and or Shakespeare kind of identity stuff.
And I still don't get how some people still want to credit Love Hina for the introduction of the harem anime genre when Tenchi Muyo's right there.
Yeah, I was about to say, everybody acts like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish because motherfuckers act like they forgot about Tenchi Muyo.
I like the idea that the harem anime trope is something that you want to claim ownership of.
I just,
Yeah, if it's like a sexually transmitted infection, do you really want to claim ownership of it?
It's like the first guy that got ALS. If we're just gonna get really dark about it, it's like who the fuck is Lou Gehrig?
So, yeah, because if they don't call the harem anime trope like the Love Hina disease or whatever. Oh, this anime's got a bad case of Love Hina's disease.
So Kodansha, okayed this stupid chapter.
Basil can't get away from this conversation fast enough.
In Weekly Shonen Magazine. Anyway, and many years later, the manga chapter was in 1997, and in 2005, the anime studio TNK decided let's adapt this. This seems like a good idea. I'm sure that Love Hina or Nagima, whichever trash was in existence, they're like, we can cash in on this. What can we afford? He did a single chapter of a thing. Let's do that.
I would really love to have heard like the pitch for adapting this. Like, is it possible this was a producer's style thing where they would make money by losing money?
I mean, they might have made money on this. I don't know. So TNK has also done other things like Handmaid May and John's perennial favorite, School Days.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh man, this is a fucking catalog when you can be like, yeah, we produced My Santa and fucking School Days. God,
And,
how much better would this be? How fantastic would this be if it had a fucking School Days heel turn at the end where Mai's just fucking stabbing the shit out of Santa?
Well, we don't know because we never got that fabled third episode.
We sure didn't.
It's actually kind of surprising that we got 2 episodes, considering that technically the first episode actually covers the one chapter of manga. And boy, does it feel like it.
It moves very fast.
It was very fast.
I think we missed, I was plugging in, or I was switching over HDMIs, and I think we missed, the first, 10 seconds. And if not for the notes Basil had sent out, so I could tell Daryl what was going on, we were both kind of like, okay, this is moving real fast. Are his parents dead? Is he Batman? What's going on?
It was... So, okay, it was directed by this guy named Noriyoshi Nakamura, who, as far as I can tell, except for, I think, High School DD, he did mostly storyboards for things. He's not a big director of things. And this was also the case for the writers, Koichi Taki and Suichi Sato. They both worked on Galaxy Angel and Maburaho, but not too much. And even the guy who did the music, Hiroshi Sakamoto, his big claim to fame as a show is Monocolle Nights, which I believe you can actually watch on Crunchyroll now. But things like 1919 was like a one-shot OAV, and you can't find it, even fan-subbed. Like, it just does not exist. And what might be, for me, the biggest travesty of all of this, the ending themes, as well as the Japanese voice of Mai, is Aya Hirano, and we watched the dub.
We sure did. There's a reason for that, too. Like, this wasn't just, oh, dubs are bad, LOL. This particular dub is extremely hard to come by legally because, and I love telling this story, Funimation released this some years back, and when they did, they released, however many copies of it out into the wild, and then they realized they had made a mistake. The TV rating on the back was like, TV, 13 or GA or wherever it was. It was not suitable. It was not appropriate for the actual content, for where there's nudity and all that shit. So they had all this shit recalled. They had a bunch of these, everything that was out in the wild. They're like, okay, got to bring this back. We've got to fix this. We've got to, correct the packaging, and then we'll send them back out. Except they never sent any back out. So
it's probably for the best.
The only ones in the wild are whoever the fuck bought this when it first came out, and that's it. I happened to come across this at a local used bookstore. I bought it just because I was like, oh, it's a fucking Christmas anime. We watch Christmas. We watch anime on Christmas Eve and eat chicken and do the whole like Christmas in Japan thing just for shits and giggles. And it wasn't until afterwards I read an article about that particular set of circumstances surrounding My Santa. I'm like, oh shit, this thing's actually really rare. So it's become one of my prized possessions. I really do enjoy it. I hope to have Brittany Karbowski sign it one day.
Oh no.
So, man, it's been a long time since I've seen Brittany Karbowski, but she's such a nice lady. At least as I recall.
And boy, does she like saying ho ho ho. Like
ho ho ho.
Like she really does dig in there and make sure those hoes match those lip flaps. So essentially the plot as it is.
She's got hoes in different area codes.
So there's this guy named Satani or Santa, and he's just like the most boring boy in existence.
He is milquetoast anime protagonist.
Like, when I realized that, so, you discover in the Japanese cast that all the girls are star-studded, awesome ladies who do tons of roles, whereas Jun Kamei, he has done this character, and he was in School Rumble second semester as Student A.
Oh, wow.
That's it. That's all that's on Anime News Network.
I'm pretty sure that the dub reflects this.
Chris Burnett, who is the English one, he certainly gives
a performance.
You could say that's a performance. I'm pretty sure those were all the first line reads.
They Fred Sinatra that shit.
Like, I didn't want to I was afraid I would be rude by asking this question, but I kept wondering, is this character, because it's a boring character, is he playing a boring character really, really well, or is he playing a boring character really, really badly, but playing a bad character badly and a bad character very well are the exact same thing?
Is this like a Nick Cage thing?
Is it? That's my question.
Is he good? Is he bad? We don't know.
I don't know if I'm being rude to Chris Burnett, but there were Basil hits it right on the head that it does sound like this was his first go at the lines, and they were like, good enough, putting it out there.
I mean,
that's what I felt like, where he was like, I could talk like voiced by Aya Hirano. Japanese, Hirano is known for her roles as Haruhi Suzumiya in the Haruhi Suzumiya franchise.
When did Satani get here?
Like, you know, I was like, oh my god, this is like the most... And he starts off in, my parents are gone, and I'm sad about that, but I can't be too sad about that, because they told me not to be sad, so therefore I will not be sad about that.
If I was a good boy, they come back, but they've never come back. So obviously I am a bad child. I am being punished.
To be fair, he put as much work into learning and reading those lines over and over as they put into his backstory. Like, they just introduce these concepts that don't really fit together, and halfway through we find out that he has all these friends at school, and it's
like,
the first...
He's shit-talking his friends early on, too. Like, let's not forget that. He shit-talks them. Like, they're not that great.
He is the world's worst Shinji, is what we're getting at, folks. Because he actually has nice, supportive friends that he just doesn't give a crap about because he doesn't think his parents love him.
I mean...
Which he gets freaking, like, dumped on for even thinking that too later.
I mean, his parents did leave when he was a small child, and they haven't been back, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, that's correct. They have never come back.
And if you look, like, he's 19 in the anime. The age he's at, like, they've been gone almost a decade, and they seem to have, like, just this new family. They just can't be bothered to come back. They're alive. They're fine.
By the way, I'm 1,000% sure that these characters are hentai 19.
Don't want to think about that.
That they made them up for the U.S.
Nah, don't want to think about that. Don't like it.
So anyways, also, just to make this also clear watching this stupid show, your grandmother did not bake you that cake. That cake was bought in a store. That is so obviously bought at the store Christmas cake, because that's how you get all the good cakes in Japan for Christmas. You buy them because they all look amazing, and they have awesome bakeries. Don't even
There's actually a delivery cake that shows up later that, you know, that's just kind of this throwaway detail of some altercation he has with someone else. And I'm pretty sure it's basically the same cake.
It sure was. And I'm glad you even saw that, because blink it and you'll miss it, because they spend a decent bit of time for Santa going, woe is me, boy does my life suck. I am alone on Christmas. And then they cut right to Mai yammering on about how she's Santa. And I'm like, wait, what? Where? Did not even a cut, like, it just immediately is there. Like, not a screen wipe or any sort of transition. It's just right there in his face. It's right into Love Hina antics.
Yep. Did we cover that also, like, his friends have apparently been throwing him a birthday party for years that he's never come to?
Never comes to.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, no, we haven't gotten that far yet. Nor have we also discovered that his parents are reporters that apparently discovered a whole, like, place full of orphans or something that they're taking care of these past 10 years. And that's why they won't leave, is because they're too busy taking care of orphans.
Yeah,
Santa is a boy who is surrounded by interesting people and cannot be bothered to be the least bit interesting.
That is the weird thing. Like, he's all alone, and it's not he went off to school. It's his parents just disappeared and didn't take him.
Like, yeah, it's oh, by the way, spoilers, everybody. This show is terrible, so we're just going to go through the show.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the show was already spoiled, in a way.
I mean...
and then for Christmas, he gets, like, the surprise codependency or whatever.
Right. Well, yeah, apparently, and also this universe, Santa has lots of buxom ladies who are doing his job for him, and unless you don't believe in them, then they're not buxom. And so that's who Mai is. She is one of Santa's helpers who is also Santa, I guess.
And also, you don't get gifts necessarily by being good. You get gifts by believing in Santa and possibly Jesus, because she name dropped Jesus a couple of times. Like, whoa, buddy,
lot.
I don't care who you know. You don't got to bring it up every conversation you have with another person.
Yeah, I always thought that like it was real close to being. Yeah, the reason that you're not happy is you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior.
On the other hand, I was also worried that they were going to drop Big Kitty Jesus into this somewhere. like it's a show that positions itself such that you don't know which way it's going to go off the rails. You just know that it is. Either they're going to try to convert you, or they're going to trot out Big Titty Jesus.
And admittedly, the most realistic thing he does in this show is that Mai comes onto him really hard, really fast, and like, yo, you're spending the night with me, I'm Santa, I'm taking care of you. And he's like, oh my god, I don't even know you, bye.
I mean, when you put it like that, it does sound a tad crazy.
I'm pretty sure he says that. Like, that's not subtext. That is as written.
I'm Santa. I'm going to take care of you. Oh, when you say it like that, it just really hits.
That's literally her introduction.
Yeah,
is starting to scream about how she is Santa and she wants to spend the night with him, but not like that.
But not like that.
Only actually like that, but not like that.
But no,
because they had to make sure to have a scene of her smacking him because it's a Ken Akamatsu joint. So there has to be like a misunderstanding where the dude gets hurt because that's funny. And so she follows and harasses him until he takes her home. And of course we get the, oh, she can't cook, ha ha ha. And this and that. And the next thing you know, she falls head over heels in love with him and is annoyed that he wants to talk to another girl. And I'm like, okay. All right.
But she's also kind of encouraging him to do that?
Yeah, that's weird, right?
They don't know what the character's motivations are. They did not plan that out.
I think boobies are the motivation.
Which, I mean, I guess you see them in this show because it's an OAV, so yeah, all right. Okay, that was, I didn't want to watch, but there it was.
I mean, you say you've never wanted to see Santa's breasts. You're going to sit here and tell me you've never once in your life wanted to see Santa Claus's heavenly bosoms?
Nah.
I'm not saying I don't.
The characters in this show feel a little young for that.
Oh, do they?
Yes! Yes, they do!
Well, you've just done is described anime. Good job.
Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe anime was a mistake.
Well, you say that, and then you get something by, like, Masaki Yuasa, and you're like, okay, maybe it wasn't.
So, she gets mad at him for calling this girl up, or getting magically calling this girl using Santa powers.
She impersonates, essentially.
But does she?
As Dylan put it, her magic causes deep fakes.
And catfishing.
Yes.
Her magic causes deep fakes.
God. Oh, that's what happens. Like, Mike kisses him to give him, quote, Santa magic.
Yeah, happiness magic.
That's right, happiness magic. And so suddenly his phone rings, and it's the girl he's had his eye on, saying, like, yo, you want to come to my party? And he's like, hell yeah, I want to come to your party. And that's when Mai gets mad, because she's like, you didn't actually talk to her. That was my magic you were talking to. And he's like, what are you talking about? That was her on the phone. It's not like magic's real or anything. And she's like, oh my goodness, can't say magic's not real. And So he goes to the party, and of course the lady's like, I didn't talk to you, what are you talking about? And then apparently there's all these other guys who are like, yo, what up, Santa? Let us get drunk now in this hizzy. Because they threw him a party every year that he never went to.
Which
And they're
also kind of creepy. Like, what's worse? The person that never attends their birthday party, or the people that say, oh, he didn't attend his birthday party this year, let's keep holding his birthday party for another decade and just forget to tell him.
or the fact that he shows up and says, "Hey, you called me," and she says, "No, I didn't."
Yeah, that
So
was
anyway,
weird.
they're all having a real normal one.
Yeah, what is the lesson that happiness magic just makes you believe something good happened rather than something good actually happening? This is some weird Trumpy logic, I think.
I would say,
now.
oh, so you've explained the Trump presidency. Thanks.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, I believe I may have. My Santa was way ahead of its time.
Are we sure that those kids weren't gaslighting him when they said they threw him a party every year? I mean, how would he fucking
Oh, God. You're right. We have no proof that they weren't lying. We've just accepted what they said as fact, and we don't even know these people.
They may be screwing with him.
Oh, I would.
That does seem like a thing bullies would do. Yeah, come on in. We're going to include you. Yeah, this is going to go great.
Except for that they had an actual flashback to apparently his grandmother throwing such a rager that these kids had the times of their little lives, and they're just trying to grasp at those sweet sugar straws one more time.
Imagine going to a granny rager in your childhood that is so good, you feel it incumbent upon yourself to throw a party every year, just hoping once that it will be as good as Granny's rager. Like, maybe you're hoping Granny will show up and start shooting glitter and throwing cupcakes and dollar bills at everybody, or whatever it is that Granny does to make such awesome parties. But, man, that's, like, what are you chasing in your life?
You're chasing a granny rager. You know, a phrase we have all used before this.
Oh, man, I want to read the memoir of the person who's like, I spent my entire life chasing that granny rager. And here's where I am. I'm broken, defeated.
And the only person who believes in me is this girl, Mai. Oh, shoot. I told Mai she sucks. Uh-oh. I better go say hi to Mai. Maybe, I think I finally found my inner Denzel, a.k.a. Jesus. Let me go.
Oh, shit.
Let me go apologize to Mai. Bye, my friends. Enjoy your granny rager.
That is also in my honor. Maybe I'll hang out next year.
And so he goes to Mai, says, I believe in you, but I'm not worthy of your love. Here, let's make out. And so
He's
they
giving
did.
it back to her.
Yeah, he is.
And that's when she finally discovered that she could in fact be Santa all along. And then she has her magical girl sequence where she apparently
Very
becomes an
horny.
adult lady.
Very horny magical girl sequence.
Super horny.
Where her butt gets a little jigglier. Her boobs become much bigger.
Also, she becomes blonde? Super Saiyan style?
More like what they probably think Americans look like style.
Oh,
Or
that's weird.
Ken Akamatsu thinks American looks like. I don't want to throw any. I want to. If I'm going to throw anyone on the bus, it might as well be him.
Is Ken's vision of magic just like Americans? Like, that's what's magical in the world? So when someone
it used to
transforms
be.
into something magical, they just become
used to be.
American?
Some physical appearances are better than others. It's patriarchy magic.
Oh, no.
Well, I
Being
also was
American
assuming-
used to mean something, okay?
Because I'm thinking of because whenever you watch any of these dumb harem shows, there's always the quote American girl, and she's always blonde, and she's always stacked, and to them that's what America's like. And she's probably also from Texas.
Oh, absolutely. There is a cowboy hat in her wardrobe. You better believe.
So
Pretty
now,
sure with all the other things she wears, of course there is.
Oh no.
And now she's like, all right, hop into my sleigh. My little reindeer toy's a real reindeer now. Let's go deliver toys.
I fucking love Pedro, okay?
There was a point where Daryl just was hoping Pedro was going to eat the boy. Like, she was tired of him. She just wanted Pedro to eat him. And we thought it was going to happen, but alas, no.
And that's when we also get, during this, where they're delivering presents to various people, and she's explaining what they really want in life, and smothers them in her loves and affections.
When you say loves and affections, you do mean kisses and boobs, right?
That's how Ken Akamatsu understands love and affection. Yes, Charlie.
That's how he expresses
That's sad.
love. Oh, I love you. My name is Ken Akamatsu. I love you. Here, let me rub my chest all over you. This is my way, the Ken Akamatsu way. This is my ninja way.
I feel like that's something like, order this tape series on TV, call this 800 number, and you too can learn the Ken Akamatsu method.
It does sound very convincing when you say it like that.
I'm thinking of Ken Akamatsu as like a televangelist. Like, okay, put your tits on the screen.
I hate all of his work, so I don't even feel bad about this. Anyways, this is also when we discover that apparently they're in like this whole like building full of orphans, or not orphans, but their kids can't afford to send them to school, so they have to work. Or
yeah, they're in like some sort of work camp or some shit. Like they just say, oh yeah, these kids have to work, and then they completely like leave it alone. Like, oh, we've got some child labor shit going on. You're just gonna overlook that? You're gonna leave them a gift and be like, hey, be a good kid. See you next year. Good luck at the work camp.
Here, have your Amazon bananas. God, and it turns out that's why his parents never came home, because I guess they've spent the past 10 years trying to fight this atrocity. I guess? Or maybe that's what they're doing now, is they go from place to place solving children labor disputes? So, I guess the whole thing is like, sorry, Santa, we can't visit you. We're too busy being actual literal heroes, saving all the children of the world. Sorry, maybe you shouldn't feel so bad about us not being there.
I feel like
there's really no end of this show rubbing Santa's nose in his childhood traumas.
Yeah, I feel like a good setup like that would be having the parents realize that, wait a minute, we've abandoned our kid to do this. What's going on here?
But instead,
because he's alone,
just wants him to feel like, oh yeah, your parents traumatized you, but you know what? You should feel bad because they traumatized you for a good reason. Like, what? What though? What's the moral?
That if your parents traumatize you like that for a good reason, that you
should just fucking buck up and deal with it.
Yeah, you should feel bad. You should feel sorry for your parents. That's
if you should let a crazy person spend the night with you.
Man, this fucking guy, am I right?
And then there's another episode, but we never watched that.
Thank God.
Oh,
that was our Christmas gift to us.
It was a beach episode. It isn't really Christmas oriented. We're doing a holiday episode. I'm like, all right, we can do this shit. This shit's awful.
And it's guaranteed to be creepier than this, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah,
because it's the beach.
Because it's
and
we know
and
what
there
that
are more
means.
characters that get introduced.
All right, let's take a break. We actually have questions. Some
do
from
too.
Charlie's wife. One's actually Dylan from the past. Anyways, we're taking a break. We'll be right back. This is the OSMcast.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho. And we are back with questions from listeners from the internet like you about Itsudatte My Santa. Tobias goes, haha, I've never actually watched it, just heard things. Well, you've heard things now.
Keep it that way.
Keep it that way. Best advice we've ever given. And
then the third Impact Anime podcast themselves, I'm pretty sure this was just Austin talking on the account, but we'll say it's under TI_anime. How does this fit in the Santa Claus cinematic universe?
I actually have an answer for this. It falls in the same multiverse as Those Who Hunt Elves, which also presents a network of Santa Clauses.
Oh man, I guess any story that presents multiple Santa Clauses, like this story would just fit right in perfectly, wouldn't it? Does it fit in with the Santa Claus? Because there's technically more than one Santa. It's just one has to die. Like if you kill Maid, would you become Santa?
It's not like a network of Santas. It's true. One Santa at a time.
That's fair.
But I think that's still part.
I'm trying to think of any other media that does a network of Santas.
It's a pretty small circle.
Yeah, it should be much bigger. Netflix and Hallmark need to get on that.
And Coke.
Yeah,
get some Panda Bears in on this. So, Dika at Cadian1366 does ask, imagine if this actually got the third episode the next episode previewed showed. Now, we didn't watch that. So, John, what did they show?
You know what? I don't even fucking remember. I do remember seeing like a third episode preview at the end of the second. I'm like, wait, is there another one? Did I miss something on the disc? And then I, went to Google and was like, oh, okay, it never got made.
That does raise an important question, though, of like, how far in the production process did TNK get with a third episode before they decided to pull the plug?
Probably
did they just animate a few scenes, or did they really have a rough episode ready to go, and then no, this is somehow beneath us?
Yeah, I mean, they at least had enough going for a preview.
Yeah. I
mean, that takes some level of production.
Right, and I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar enough with the industry to know. Are those trailers usually made from finished episodes, or are they constructing those trailers from just wherever they are in the process? Wish I knew. It should have gotten 6 seasons in a movie. That's what this show should have gotten.
No.
Imagine the rich lore of Titty Santa you would have with 6 seasons in a movie. Would have been amazing.
The rich lore of what?
Of Titty Santa.
Of course. I imagine it would definitely be as consistent as every other piece of backstory in this show.
Oh, absolutely.
Although, speaking of Dylan questions, Dylan at Dylan Wolf, also currently on this podcast, future us, did this really turn out to be a good idea?
Of course not.
No.
It was never a good idea from the begining. That's why I suggested it.
I think this is a unanimous one on this question.
Yeah. Kevin, at Twitless_Kevin, since I'm not watching this, smart idea, how does this compare better, worse, weirder to other Ken Akamatsu works?
I'll give my answer as I answered to him on Twitter, which is, I can assure you I will never find out.
So, I think out of all of us, the only person who can actually answer this question accurately is John.
Okay, so Love Hina is apocalyptically stupid. My Santa is also really, really stupid, but not in a way that gets so absurd that it makes me... I don't have this reaction of visceral anger that I do with that fucking episode of Love Hina, where they just lose their glasses and they completely fucking don't know they're talking to, the same person they fucking live with and talk to all the time. I took off my glasses. I can't recognize voices anymore. Fucking Christ.
And then Charlie asks, well, he has a couple of questions here from his wonderful wife. How does Dylan feel about watching this? I think Dylan loved it.
No.
I think Dylan loved it too.
No, I did not.
I think it's unanimous.
No,
it's at least 3 against 1. The eyes have it. Dylan loved this. It's his favorite.
This feels like
anime.
the story of my life, man. It is creepier than I remember it being. Like I said, for a show that is this mature in terms of rating, with characters that are this young, I'm like, this seems real bad. This seems like a thing we should destroy.
And it is.
And not have a copy of.
You were right the whole time. No, you got to save that copy until it's worth millions.
I mean, it might just be the fact that Ken Akamatsu is just really tuned in as to what the 12-year-old boy really wants to watch in life.
That's
probably true.
That's probably creepily accurate.
Which goes to follow, the next question from Charlie is, my wife, is she going to put her titties on everyone in the world?
Yes.
And I think it appeared so. I mean, I guess it depends on how they're laying and how she's standing on the bed or beside the bed, but it seemed like it was headed there, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure to sleep like naked and out from underneath the covers Christmas Eve this year.
Absolutely. Like I do every Christmas Eve.
Hoping that one day Tim Allen will come and visit.
Someday, if only. My wife's repeated question that I did not tweet was, "Is this porn?" She spent a good 15 minutes asking that question, probably every 45 seconds.
Oh yeah,
I know for a stone cold fact that your wife has watched porn.
But she did not know where this was going, and I tried to warn her. I was like, "This is going to get horny at some point," and she was still unprepared. But how could you be? Right. I don't think one can prepare oneself for my.
It's a '90s anime. It's
The explanation lies in the fact, and this just goes to Japan's horniness in general. Japan is the world's homeschool kid. Okay, they went through several centuries of isolationism, and now they're the weird fucking homeschool kid that, is coming in, their senior year to socialize. And they don't know how the fucking world works.
You guys all like titties, right? Can we talk about that? I talk about it in my class with myself all the time.
And honestly, it's a case of was an OAV. Like, this was, straight to video, and they can get away with that crap. So they did.
I'm a little impressed that they managed to restrain the nudity mostly to the transformation sequence.
And the shower scene.
Yeah, the restraint was amazing.
Well, and then I think it also comes to us. We're also desensitized ourselves to a certain point because, man, they were, especially the first chunk of this show, they were, we saw the undergarments of Mai several times.
Oh, yeah, they telegraphed the crap out of that, which is another thing Daryl kept pointing out, and I was like, yeah, you're right. This is a lot.
That's a big thing in anime. Like there was a whole series that, like, Naujika or whatever it was.
Yes.
I remember you guys watching that. It was like, ah.
Oh.
Well,
yes, let us summon the spirit of Naujika in the Naujika game that you can play watching it, which is to pick up a pixel, literally a pixel, on your screen, and see how long it takes before panties appear on that pixel. You can't get away from it.
And maybe we're just a bunch of prudes here. I don't know.
I guess my problem is I've not watched a lot of anime in the last few years, and what I have watched has not been the stuff that leans into fan service. So so even for me, a normal amount or average amount of fan service, I guess, is a little bit like, I remember what this was like. This was from back in the before times.
And not to defend anything, but this also holds 0 candles to something like Game of Thrones.
That is true.
Oh yeah.
And they're rated the same thing. If you think about it that way.
That's just ridiculous.
In America, it's for the same market, really.
I mean,
Oh yeah, you're right.
All right, folks. This has been the OSMcast, your podcast for usually everything awesome.
Four small awesome things and one big not awesome thing. This episode.
But for John, I hope this episode is everything you wanted it to be.
absolutely. Thank you.
So
Now you don't have to get him a Christmas present.
that's fine. I'm absolutely broke. You can find us at awesomecast.com. You can also find us on places like Twitter and whatnot at awesomecast. You can find myself, Basil, on Twitter at It's Basil Time. You can find Charlie at _sommelier. Dylan's at Dylan Wolf. John's at J5 is live.
That is J. The number 5 is live. If you cannot spell is live, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. You're too stupid.
Our theme song was composed by DJ Inabito. You can find it at djinabito.com. He also does various streams on the Twitches. John also does the Twitches with These Are Vidya Games.
That's
with
twitch.tv/thesearevg.
They play all the fun games that the kids love.
Like
That aren't
Overwatch and
Fortnite.
League of Legends and Genshin Impact.
Of course, this has been wonderfully edited by my amazing wife, Anna, which you can find her on Twitter at Angel Darkfire, but the middle A is silent. And we're sorry we took so long talking about this show.
We're sorry.
No regrets.
But if you would like to tell us if you liked it or hated it or whatever, again, find us on Twitter or leave a comment on the, on the website, awesomecast.com. Or tell a friend, tell the world that we talked about Itsudatte My Santa. And leave us reviews on iTunes or whatnot. Say whatever you want, just give us those 5 stars.
Give us those downloads. Gotta get
That's
that podcast
right.
money. Gotta get that sponsorship with fucking Helix. Gotta get those Helix mattress sponsorships.
John might be sarcastic. I am not. No, I'll pimp whatever you want to pay me to pimp out.
Oh, hell yeah. We are for sale. Put the sign on the door. We are for sale.
Go to www.meundies.com/awesomecast for your 15%
Use the
off.
OSM promo code. Let them know that you came from us.
Smash that subscribe button, fam.
That's right. We laugh, but no, please do. Please do. Throw us in whatever podcatcher you use. And, yeah. Okay. Well, on that wonderful notes, see y'all later. We're out.
銀色の星屑たち冷たい風に揺れて瞬いてる一人きり見上げた空初めて二人出会った日と同じあなたが
She's not my Santa.
My Santa.
Hashtag not my Santa.
But see, you're getting all that glorious wordplay because it's My Santa and the main character's name is Santani, which sounds a lot like Santa, and the other main character, his name is Mai, M-A-I, or at least, in the English translation. So it's My Santa.
Clever is what I would use to describe another show.